Welcome back to the channel, guys. In this video, I want to do a 1-year review of the Fidium service that I'm currently using. Currently, I'm using Fidium's 2 gig service. And to make a short story shorter for those that don't have much time to look at like a 10-minute video, the service has been solid since I had it. Typically when I do have issues with internet service is when there's like a power outage or the power is fluctuating. If you live outside of Houston or in Houston, you should be no stranger to the fact that when storms come through, sometimes the power acts a little bit funky, right? So normally when I do have outages or internet connection issues, it's usually related to a power issue. The service has been really good. It's been solid. I'm able to get reliable download and upload speeds of 2 gigs, and I like it. The one downside that or beef that I have with Fidium is the fact that they were not transparent with what equipment I would need to use to be able to utilize 2 gig speeds. So that's kind of like a quick shortcut on the content. If you want to get a little bit more detailed information, go ahead and stick with me. So before we get into the video, I want to go ahead and take the time to go over some of the equipment that I use. Apologies ahead of time. My babies are being very noisy this morning. They're having fun, so hopefully it won't be too distracting for the video. All right, so on top of the desk is my main computer. I use this for business as well as gaming. And I have this main computer hooked up to my router through Ethernet. You can see the connection right there on the wall. The computer that's on the floor, that is going to be my recording computer. I use that for storage as well, but primarily recording for any of the video games that I'm playing. I have that hooked up to one of the Deco routers. I'm going to talk about those in a moment. All right, so here's the Deco unit that I have outside of my office. I have my second computer that I record games on hooked up to this one. This unit is able to give me a decent, close to 1 gig upload and download speed. It's not too far from the main unit. The main unit is upstairs, and how the main unit connects to all of the other Decos is through Wi-Fi 6E. Now, from my understanding, any Wi-Fi device that's connected to the Decos are going to be using Wi-Fi 5 instead of 6E. And it's plenty fast. I believe there is an option in the software where you are able to allow your devices to use Wi-Fi 6. I haven't tested it out because it's plenty fast enough. You can see here that my main Deco unit is connected directly to the router through Ethernet, and it works well. I have another Deco unit, the third one, that is also downstairs by the living room television. And again, very solid connection between the 3 units and coverage as well. All right, so here is where the magic happens. What we have here is the actual optical or fiber optic modem. This black cable that's going into the modem is the actual fiber optic, and this gray Ethernet cable is connected to a 10 gigabit port, and that's going to my router. Because this modem has a 10 gigabit port, if Fidium ever decides to offer 5 gig or even 10 gig speeds in the future, this modem would be capable of delivering such speeds. And the cool thing about this Asus router is it's also capable of delivering 10 gig speeds as well through these 2 ports here. These are dual 10 gigabit ports. These can also be used as WAN and LAN ports. WAN is going to be a wide area network port, and LAN is going to be a local area network port. That's going to be for your devices like your computer, your laptops, pretty much. Very interestingly, this is labeled as a WAN port, wide area network port, but I'm actually able to use this as a LAN port and just kind of go over the Ethernet. So obviously this gray one is from the modem and it's supplying the router with the internet connection. This pink one here that's connected to the 10 gig port goes directly to my computer. And that's how I'm able to get those 2 gig speeds. This WAN port here is labeled as a WAN port, but I'm actually using this as a LAN port. This is going to the Deco mesh routers. I believe because I'm using this as a LAN port, maybe I'm only able to top out at 1 gig. It's listed here at the bottom. Hopefully you guys can see that. It's listed as a 2.5 gigabit port, as well as a 1 gigabit port. Because I'm using this as a LAN port, maybe it's topping out at 1 gig speeds. But it works really well with the Deco units. In comparison, when I originally had this Ethernet cable connected to one of these four, my speeds were still good above 500 megabits. But I noticed with this port, at least for my cell phone, I'm able to get closer to 1 gig speeds, normally around 800, 700, on some days 900 gigs. I'm able to get with this port, whereas these, I'm probably going to average out at like 600 or close to 700, which is still fast. All right, so what I'm going to do now is show the performance of the service on my main computer. So I'm going to do a simple download and upload test with a server that's close by. So far so good. It's maintaining above 2 gig speeds for the download. And you can see that the upload is well above 2 gigs, almost 2.3. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same test, but on a server that's further away in a different state. Okay, and you can see the download is faring very well, pretty much 2.3 gig speeds. It fares a lot better than my first test. And of course, the upload is maintaining above 2 gigs as well, so pretty solid performance. Now let's go ahead and look at another video. This is going to be on my second computer, which is hooked up to one of the Deco routers. So let's go ahead and do a simple download test. Okay, and it's maintaining pretty well at 700 megabits, and that's blazing fast. And normally the upload speeds, very interestingly, are sometimes a little bit higher than the downloads. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to pick a server that's further away in a different state, and let's go ahead and take a look at the performance of that. Okay, and it's going pretty strong, almost a gig speed. And let's take a look at the upload speed. Right at 1 gig, so that is blazing fast. Now, I want to show one last video. This is a more practical video of what you can expect. In this video, I'm downloading a video game that just came out, which is a pretty large file. And you can see on Steam, the highest download speed that was reached was 1.8 gigabits. And I think that is a good example of your real world performance. So after looking at the equipment, some people may wonder, why do I have two different router systems? I have the Deco mesh routers along with the Asus routers. I wanted to use these primarily for Wi-Fi coverage, and that was really it. I have the Asus router simply because I want to have 2 gig speeds for this main computer behind me. These do provide solid Ethernet connection speeds, because this particular unit here, which is outside of my office, powers my second recording computer. And like I mentioned earlier in the video, this here is able to give my second computer 1 gig speeds upload and download, which is really, really solid. Now, going into the routers that Fidium provides, they actually provide you with 2 routers. This is going to be the main router here, and this functions kind of similar to the Deco units. This functions as a satellite for a mesh Wi-Fi connection, and this, of course, extends your Wi-Fi connection. Now, the only downside with the router that Fidium provides you, while they do have a WAN port here that is capable of dealing with 2.5 gigabit speeds, unfortunately, these Ethernet ports here are only going to be capable of 1 gig speeds, and that's very unfortunate. Now, one big consideration that I recommend putting on your mind is, what devices do you currently have that can reach 2 gig speeds beyond 1 gig? I just speak for myself. I wanted to have 2 gig services because I do a lot of Zoom teaching. I do a lot of downloading for my games and things like that. And the truth is, I wanted to have those speeds for my main computer. Most, if not all, Wi-Fi devices, and again, if I'm incorrect, please correct me, can only reach 1 gig in speed. When we look at devices like the video game consoles, the PlayStation 5, as well as the current Xbox, from my little bit of research, through Ethernet connection, the fastest speeds that those devices are able to achieve are 1 gig speeds. So if you plan to do 2 gig, and you have most of all your devices can only reach 1 gig in speed, I would highly consider doing the 1 gig service from Fidium, which is going to be plenty fast. If you have devices that can do 2 gigs or more, then hey, go for it. But my logic is, if I'm paying for 2 gig services, I want to be able to utilize it. My computer behind me, I use this for almost everything. I use it for my business. I use it for my Zoom lectures, of course, for pleasure with my gaming and things like that. If you plan to mostly use Wi-Fi devices, the 1 gig service would better serve you than doing the 2 gig service. Hopefully this video was informative. If there's anything that I was not accurate on, please correct me. Again, I'm far from an expert, but hopefully my video was able to add some value to the topic of internet connection and all that good stuff. You guys drop a comment, drop a like, and you have a good rest of your day. Thank you.